didn't catch your name. I'm sorry. What's your name again?
Hepinize Süper 7 TV ekranlarından selamlar, saygılar. Abi hayat ötemiz sonsuz. Refik Korkmaz'la mitoloji sohbetlerinin bugün 19. bölümündeyiz. Teknik ekipte bize destek veren Nedim Bey, Layla Bey, sizlere selamlarımı sunuyorum. Ve bugün ilk defa canlı yayında bir profesörümüzü ağırlıyoruz. Kanada'dan değerli bir profesörümüz ve şimdi hep beraber tanışacağız. Profesör Can Colerasso. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Are you a professor of linguistics, isn't it?
I'm a professor in 2 departments. And
Wow.
in anthropology department at McMaster, I teach mythology. And in the linguistics department, I teach linguistics. I was trained as a linguist.
Okay, I am too much glad because my life is mythology. Today, I would like to speak with you about Iliad epic and Odyssey epic. It will be too much honor for me.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Professor, if you would like, I have some questions.
Surely.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I am reading Iliad epic and Odyssey epic with subconscious mind, not conscious mind, subconscious mind. Therefore, I found maybe more than thousands symbols. Today, I will ask if you explain to us, I will be glad, what is the Trojan horses? What is the Trojan horse in subconscious mind?
What is it? What does it mean? What does it stand for? Well, all folk tales, all mythology is made out of what we call motifs. They keep recurring across the entire planet, and we have to distinguish between a mechanism in a story and the details by which it is realized.
Yes, I agree.
So what we have with the Trojan horse specifically is a manifestation of the motif of trickery. So one must, as it came to be called later, beware Greeks bearing gifts. So one must not take things at face value, but one must see inside and make sure that there is no danger. So this is a theme, and it will pop up all across the planet in various traditions, in various forms. So look beyond the surface, look beyond what is going on. Yes. And these things, all these little building blocks of folklore, they're all apparently inherited from our ancestors in some way, and they're built into our minds. They're built into our subconscious mind, and they resonate, and they have power. They have great power because they can reach directly down to the base foundations of your mind and your intellect.
According to me, Professor John, I am thinking, yes, it's more than trees. It's sperm, man's sperm. Why? Because Trojan castle, I mean, Ilian castle, Priam's castle is over, woman's over, and horse is sperm. Yes, if we read surface in Iliad and Odyssey epic, we cannot find this. But if we go beyond the surface, go beyond the epic, if we can reach understanding about subconscious mind, horse is sperm, castle is over. When Trojan horse entered the castle, 36 hours later, horse doing activate. It means sperm, when goes to over, 36 hours later, baby is starting in the womb. What are you thinking about this?
Maybe it started in the womb. There are the building blocks, the motifs that are built in, but then there are things called archetypes, and archetypes are more like storylines, plots. We have a war. The Iliad is a story of a war and a story of a particular warrior named Achilles, and the issue of honor and bravery and this sort of thing. And the Trojan horse is not in the Iliad. You have to go to other material to find the end of that story, other Greek writers from ancient times. And the horse, of course, was a crucial animal at this time of human technology.
According to me, Professor John, Iliad epic is more than a war. Mm-hmm. Yes, if we read surface on 16,000 lines, it's about war between Greece army and Trojan army. But if we can go beyond of the 16,000 lines, and if we can read according to our subconscious mind, it's mean more than a war. It's Iliad about making love between husband and wife. Why? Because Anadolu in Turkish, full with mother. Anadolu, full with mother. Anadolu represents lady, and all Greece army coming from Crete Island. Crete Island is husband. Crete in Indo-European languages, create, creation. If there is a man and there is a woman, and after they are making love, it will be creating.
Well,
my thinking is on this side. What is your thinking, please?
I think that it is a story, the Iliad is a story about war. But as with real war, it gives you opportunities to see many aspects of human conduct and human virtue and human evil and vice. And the trigger for the war is, of course, the abduction of Helen, the wife of Menelaus. And she has gone off to be be a consort with Paris, Prince of Troy. So one has in the background this understanding of the cause of the war. And Helen, the name itself, is derived from a Greek word for sun, sun in the sky. And so she's the sun maiden in a way. She brings light, she brings fertility, she brings the day, and the growth of plants and everything. So she is more than simply a mortal woman. And for her to have gone off with Paris, and Paris is probably a Indo-European word for the man from far away, as we find the city Pars, or Farsi in Iran, whatnot, and Paris, France. There's a Parisi tribe was there. These were a distant tribe. So the sun has gone off far away someplace and been taken away. And so the question is, if someone hears this story, do they understand that? Do they understand Achilles' wrath, having been treated poorly by Agamemnon? Mm-hmm. It is very rich, and it will resonate in various ways with different people. And this is why it has lasted for nearly 3,000 years, and can still be read and understood, and inspire people, as it has you, obviously. So it is a treasure chest, and you reach in, you pull out something that's for you. Somebody else comes, they pull out something else that's for them. But I do think that it is about husband and wives. It's about Achilles. One can actually argue that Achilles is, in fact, a relic of what we call berserker. That when he goes to war, he goes insane, and he fights with a river god, which is these Norse berserkers would do as well. These were kind of frenzied warriors that were considered sort of sacred. And the Greeks have sort of already forgotten that in a way, but still the dynamics of Achilles are such that you can still read this ancient kind of crazed, insane warrior. So this is a very rich tale or epic, very complex and very full of treasures.
According to me, Mr. John, Agamemnon represent penis. Aegean Sea, please remember Aegean Sea, shape of Aegean Sea, looks like vagina. And Ilios, Çanakkale, Bosphorus is represent mouth of womb. Marmara Sea is womb of woman. So Agamemnon is penis. Aegean Sea is vagina. So why Achilles and Agamemnon argue with each other? Because Achilles is sperm, and in other's hand, Patroclus is also sperm.
Well, you can try to make images like this as understanding and interpretations, but these are products of your conscious mind. And the power of the tale is that it resonates with your subconscious mind, and how you then interpret that will vary from person to person. So you may see some sexual imagery in the geography or whatever, somebody else may not. So this is the power of the tale, is that it is, how do we say, very democratic.
When I look and when I understanding mythology, always I am understanding about subconscious mind. For example, Homer telling us in Iliad and Odyssey, not only two floors, not only people and God and goddesses. Homer tell us third kind of people, which, yes, people is in war. It's common people. Yes, 12 God and goddesses in the heaven, top of Olympus, and some people is going to be God. Who? Odyssey, Penelope, and Mentor. If Odyssey can complete his mission, he will be God. And his success, because when he arrived his home 20 years later, and when he grabbed his wife Penelope, that time Penelope be goddess and Odyssey be God, and both of them being immortals. Therefore, according to me, two kind people in this legend. For example, Priam, Hector, Achilles, Agamemnon, all of them is people, normal. Zeus and others is goddess and God. Penelope, Odysseus, and their son, Telemachus, and the Mentor. They are trying to be God and goddesses, and they success to be it. Mm-hmm. Why? Because if person in the Odyssey and in the Iliad epic, if living in Aegean Sea, living in caste of Aegean Sea, they are normal people. If they living in the sky, top of Olympus, they are God and goddesses. But if people live out of Aegean Sea, for example, Ithaca Island, not in Aegean Sea. In Aegean Sea, only living people, but out of Aegean Sea caste, they are trying to be God. Why and how they can be success to be God? When Odyssey fight in Trojan War, he is normal people, normal person. And Poseidon too much love him. But when war is finished, and when Odysseus decides to be God, decide to be good person, to be a perfect person, to be God, first he opened his third eyes. So Odysseus, in which island opened his third eyes? In Cyclops Island, especially in Polyphemus cave, when Odysseus with olive tree blinded Polyphemus' eye. It means Odysseus opened his third eyes. According to me, Polyphemus represents Odysseus. Odysseus looking in the mirror. Odysseus seeing him in the mirror, a giant. Becomes 10 years in the Trojan War. He is killer, he is giant, he is love of Poseidon. And in the Odyssey legend, Homer tells us, Odyssey blinded Poseidon's son. Yes, it means Odyssey opened his eyes. Therefore, Poseidon to be his enemy. In 10 years, Poseidon say, can't be bad person as one time you are best person in Trojan War. Come back and be bad person. Or they say no. I opened my eyes and I went to Kirkes Island. When I went to Kirkes Island, I have too much knowledge about fifth dimension. I have too much knowledge about quantum universe. When I went to Hades, land of Hades, I have too much knowledge about deaf people. I have too much knowledge about souls. And when he went to the Silence Island, he said, I have more knowledge about quantum universe. So what is his knowledge? When he went to Kirkes Island, he knows that God is seeing everything and recording everything. God can turn all people to animal, to flowers, to rocks, to tables, to everything. And God recording all people with animals. And when he went to Hades lands, he knows all souls living in quantum universe, immortality. When he went to in front of Silence Island, he knows that in the quantum universe, there is not material, not atoms. There is only a voice, God's voice. And when he went to the Skyla rock and Charybdis gate, he said, and he thinking, oh, I shouldn't thief, I shouldn't stolen, and I need say good thing, I need say all good, not lie. According to me, when he go to Calypso Island, Calypso is here, our our brain in clips. Which clips? This bone, our skulls. So please look at me. When Odyssey go to Trojan War, he lived in food. When Trojan War finished, he come here.
Mm-hmm.
Our spin is here, end of our spin. And this time, 10 years passed, and Odyssey went to the Kypros island with this ponytail, end of ponytail, blinded himself. So when Polyphemus said, "Who are you?" He said, "Nobody. I am Odysseus. Odysseus is nobody." It means only we can open our third eyes. Nobody can open our third eyes. Here is Polyphemus Island. Here is Kirkes Island. Boom. Heart is land of Hades. Our chest and our arms is island of Sirens. And here is one dragon, here is one dragon. According to all tradition and all religions, a dragon here and a dragon here, an angel here and an angel here. They are writing our everything, our sins, our good things. And here is our decision point. We will give our decision. If we will be perfect people, after the perfect people, we will be God, or we will be stay here. 7 years in Calypso Island, Odyssey thinking, cannot give his decided. End of the 7th year, Calypso say, "Okay, go." Yes, our mind in our clips, it's Calypso, and behave, our brain behave and get out our body. Here is, according to me, Payax Island. Here is Payax. Here is crown. When Odyssey go to Payax Island, they are acting to Odyssey as a king. Then look at, after here, our body is finished, but God is starting here. After our body finished, he arrived his home, his wife, his olive tree. Means of olive tree is believe. Olive tree have two means. If you would like believe, if you not would like, don't believe. End of the epic, he said, our bedroom have an oval tree. Then Penelope kissing her husband, and they are being immortal. What are you thinking about those?
Okay. Well, look, the Odyssey is what we call in folklore a typical travel story where the hero goes to magical lands, or perhaps even lands that were real, but distant and poorly known. So, for example, the seductress Kirke, the name Kirke is the first instance we have of the word Cherkess for an actual people from the Caucasus area. So, we look at the names and we try to figure out if they actually referred to real places. I think the important thing, though, to understand is that the Greeks did not have one god. They were pagan. They had many gods. They practiced what we call polytheism. And the idea of a god in polytheism is really quite different from the idea of one God in Islam or Christianity or Judaism. And what happens with many gods, pagan gods, is that they're sort of like people. They have roles like people, they have special talents or special capacities, like super people in some way. So the distance between a person and a god is not that far in pagan thinking. So you can be a regular soldier, you can be fighting in front of Troy or the city of Ilion, or you can do magic or super things. Odysseus is the smartest of the Greeks. He's the one that actually thought up the Trojan horse invasion of the castle of Priam. He saves his men from the sirens, the songs of the sirens. And when they land at Kirke's island, or Circe's island, his men are turned into pigs, but he is not. This kind of thing. So he is rising above the ordinary human and getting closer to the gods. So the gods are sort of up here. They're not, magically far away the way the one god is. They're sort of here doing their thing. They can have fights. They can be wounded. They can even die. So in some ways, to go from a human to a god is not that big a change. And there are other examples, sort of in the myth of Hercules. He has a travel log or travel myth as well, about going to the Pillars of Hercules and coming back and fighting the Ligurians. And the Ligurians were real people in northwestern Italy. So that's another example of a travelogue tale. And what happens is that with the case of Odysseus, is that he returns and to Penelope, who has been faithful to him, who has resisted all these suitors, and he proves his might by shooting an arrow through all these axe heads. So he has somehow enormous skill beyond the skill of any normal human being. Now, his killing of Polyphemus, the Cyclops.
Can I explain?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
12 Arch. When Odysseus first time go to Trojan War, when he left his home, he left his bow in his home. 20 years later, he arrived his bow. So, what is bow? Look at, please. Our spine had 33 bones. It's bow. My bow not bobbing. My bow is straight. Look at me, please. I will do my bones to bow. Look. Starting with my ponytail and look at its bow. Where is the tide of bow? Hair. Hair is tied. For example, it's my hair. Look. If a people can show respect a king as this. And if a people can show respect a beggar like this, if people can show respect a king and a beggar same respect, it means he can be immortal.
Mm-hmm.
He can warn, he can bow his own. Therefore, 108 people lives in Odyssey home, and they are, would you like marry with Penelope, but they cannot do this because all of them is bad. All their bow is straight. They can reach, they can show a king respect, but they show two beggars in this home their bad acts. They kicking Odyssey when Odyssey turned into beggar. And in his exists another beggar. They are kicking them. And 12 arch goes in 12 X hole, X's hole. It means when you be immortal, you can do everything. If people can show respect, kings, gods, beggars, animals, flowers, everything, it means he can bow his bow. Look at me, my bow. This, according to me. And according to me, another thing, lotus eater.
Yeah, lotus eater, yeah.
Yes, all people look at around Libya and Tunis, and they are searching lotus. No. Lotus is our mother breast. Our mother breast is lotus. So, if our mother's breast lotus, who is the lotus eater? Babies. Babies drinking their mother's milk with their chest, their breast. So when people drink, when lotus eaters eat lotus, they forget their land, they forget their home. So what is meaning the home? Two kind of home. One, normal home. Second, quantum universe. Our real home is not in this world. Our home is not our house. Our home is quantum universe. So all fighters who fight in Trojan War, all of them can come back their home easily because they are human. But only Odyssey cannot reach a few months to his home because he had 10 years in sins. Human kill is sins. Therefore, he cleaning in 10 years with his sins. If a people can clean and if a people can escape from Poseidon, that people can be immortal. What are you thinking about Lotus Inter? Are you thinking about Lotus Inter?
I have no opinion about Lotus Eater. I have no opinion about Lotus Eater. I imagine that people prior to modern medicine for the last 5,000 years or so, people seek cures and remedies from plants and maybe mushrooms, things like this. And I would imagine that the Lotus Eaters represent in some way a kind of perfect form of medicine, something like this, that they have the perfect food and the perfect plant to cure all ills, to make them completely healthy and perhaps immortal. Okay. One thing I wanted to mention, at least is true in English, that bow and bow, when you bend over your head, you bow, and bow and bow basically are the same word. So bow and arrow or bowing.
Yes.
There is a link, a linguistic link there as well. Now, when you bow to someone, basically you're presenting yourself as completely vulnerable. You have no ability to resist a possible attack if they choose not to accept your friendship or your encounter. So this is, I think, a gesture, an appeasement, we call an appeasement gesture. I mean, what I do is, rather than look so deeply at a particular incident in one particular tale, I look at a whole range of stories. So, for example, if you want to argue that Odysseus becomes a god, and Heracles became a god, the founder of Thebes, Europa. What's his name? It's Cadmus, and his the Roman emperors, when they died, became gods. They were worshipped as gods. So pagans thought this was normal. Very important people. They couldn't die. They became gods. So this was very widespread, and it's a product of paganism. You would never have this idea in a modern monotheistic faith. So this is purely a product of the paganism. Let me go back for a minute to the Cyclops, Polyphemus, because the name, it doesn't mean one eye; it means round eye. Kuklops. Ops is eye, and Kuk is a circle. So we're not quite sure what it represents. We have one-eyed giants in the Caucasus as well, and they're not blinded, but they are killed. And it's very interesting that Odysseus blinds this Cyclops and says that he is no man. So no man has hurt me. The other, he's bellowing in pain. The other Cyclopes say, "What is wrong with you, Polyphemus?" And he said, "Who has hurt you?" And he says, "No man has hurt me." And so they don't come to his aid. It's very interesting cleverness. And this again is Odysseus's genius, his trickiness and ability to think his way out of crucial problems. Encounters like this. Maybe it means a third eye. There is the issue of the warrior's mark, or the warrior's moon, it's called. And we find it in Irish lore, we find it in Norse, we find it in Mongolia, we find it even in Japanese samurai. The helmet has a crescent moon on the top. And this, we think, is a third eye, originally a third eye, that allowed the warrior to see somehow the truth of battle, something like that.
Kyklos is Cyclops. Please. It's our spy. 33 bones. Look, here is end of our spine, and our spine too much sharp as a spear. Look, here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here is coming, and look at circle. He blinded Polyphemus with olive branch, but olive branch as a spear. Do you hear? Here. Oh, and open. This is open third eyes. And according to me, Polyphemus not exist. Cyclops not exist. So who is Cyclops and who is Polyphemus? Polyphemus is us, Rafiq. If Rafiq, that person, when Rafiq seeing into mirror, oh, in the mirror there is a killer. Eat people. Yes, because what say when fight in 10 years, he is a killer. Here's a giant, and he said, I burned all Trojans' country. I killed in 9 years all people. Odyssey 100 with these sentences. So he is seeing himself in mirror. And that time he said, wow, I'm giant. Should I open my third eyes? How can I do? So if I can success, if I can blind it to me with my ponytail, that time I will be success. When he be good people, Poseidon being his enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Poseidon every time said, no, don't open your third eyes. Don't be a good person. Be bad person, be bad person, be bad person. But in Iliad, never Poseidon bad act to Odyssey. Because Odyssey is best of the bad people, and Odyssey best of Poseidon's son. When Odyssey opened his third eyes, Poseidon lost his son. When Odyssey opened his third eyes, Poseidon lost his son Odyssey. Say, come, my son, come, be bad. He said, no, I cannot. I should go to my home, but my home not common home, my home not stone home, my home is parallel universe, my home is quantum universe. I am too much clever. Yes, I am best clever in the world because I am not physical body, I am soul. Therefore, he remembered that I am soul and I come the world for teaching my physical body. Physical body, little bit clever, but our soul knows everything. And Odyssey saying, oh, I remember my home. My home is in heaven. My home is in God's. My home is in quantum universe. Should I go to home? But if I have too much sins, I cannot go to my home. I should be clean. That one come to Ithaca not clearly. Ithaca in clothes. It means Ithaca that time turn into heaven, turn into divine. Ithaca that time, end of the story, turn into quantum universe. What is the quantum universe? Our souls living in quantum universe and coming dwarf and come back to quantum universe. It's my opinions.
Okay. All right, let's go back to Polyphemus, the Cyclops. You see, as you say, he's a son of Poseidon, and in the creation, the Titans, and then the Olympians, and the generations of gods. First is Okeanos and Gaia, and then the Titans, and then we have the Olympians, and the children of Poseidon. One of them are the Cyclopes, if I recall, but they are blacksmiths, and they fashion lightning bolts, the thunderbolt, for the god Zeus, and he needs those thunderbolts when he fights the monster Typhon. So when we hear later of Cyclops, somehow this is this blacksmith group in some way, these magic original blacksmiths, the divine blacksmiths that fashioned whatever was needed. And for us, we think of a blacksmith, well, they make shoes for horses, some other, but they did all technology. They did all the weapons, they did all the armor, they did the horseshoes too, of course, but they were very crucial originally, and they were kind of an exalted profession. And so I see Polyphemus, I don't see him opening a third eye, I see him extinguishing, destroying the one eye that this sort of known primordial blacksmith has in some way. I don't understand the encounter. I think it's strange. There is a tale like this from the Caucasus as well. And the giant lives inside a large hollow tree as opposed to a cave. And so there's got to be something there, something going on, because the giant actually traps them in. He traps Odysseus and his crew, and he starts eating them. And so there's something about being trapped, about being caught. And by blinding Polyphemus, Odysseus releases his crew. So it's being captured versus being free in some way. So some important theme like that going on. And the trouble is the Cyclopes, or the one-eyed giants in Nart sagas from Caucasus, Yanuj, they're called Yanuj. They're evil, they get killed and whatnot, but there's nothing about the blinding aspect. There's nothing about, they only have one eye, but it's not clear what's going on. It's one of the more problematic and difficult incidents in the Odyssey. It's something I have real trouble understanding.
So, please, a few minutes, try, look at Iliad and Odyssey with subconscious, not with conscious. For example, Paris and Helena. Crete and Anatolia, Zeus and Hera, Adam and Eva, Odyssey and Penelope. Agamemnon and Clytemnestra. So, Helen represents Eva. Paris represents Adam. But Helen and Paris is normal people. So, Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, they are normal people. So, Adam and Eva, once upon a time, they was angels. But when they come to world, they turn into normal people. So, Zeus, God, Hera, goddess. So, Crete Island, geographical Adam, Anatolia is geographical Eva. So, Odyssey is Adam, Penelope is Eva. Odyssey and Penelope can reach, be God and goddess, but Helen and Paris cannot success be God and goddess. Agamemnon and Clytemnestra cannot be success God or goddess. And in other hand, why Agamemnon killed by Clytemnestra lover? When Agamemnon arrived his home, Clytemnestra's lover killed Agamemnon. Why? Why Agamemnon died in his wife's arms? Because Iliad is not a war. Iliad is a making love with husband and wife. End of the making love, man is dying. Grab his mother, grab his wife. Agamemnon, yes, killing by Clytemnestra, it means after the making love, erection is dying. What are you thinking about this? It looks like subconscious.
Okay. You can imagine these things. You can come up with these interpretations using your subconscious feelings and some sense of what all this means. I don't do that. I'm a professor. I have to publish books and articles, and I look instead at patterns. I look at historical relationships. I look at other myths that may be similar in some way, or have similar themes and characters. And I think that there is very little sex in the Iliad. There is Briseis, who is given to Achilles, and Agamemnon takes her away. And this is, in a way, denying Achilles the opportunity to make children. But the important thing about Achilles is that he's half God. He is the son of Thetis, goddess, and of Peleus, whose name probably means mighty one, something like that. You see it also in Belgi and words like that. So I use linguistics too to try to interpret the names and what the people may have been thinking thousands of years ago when they name these characters, the bards who were reciting these tales. So I think that there is that one thing where Achilles is denied the chance to reproduce. And I do think that there's an important symbology in sex, that the act of sex produces new people, and the new people will replace the old people, that it is a guarantee against death in a way. But I don't see a lot of it in the Iliad. Paris takes Helen away from Menelaus, so he's denied the chance to have children. Briseis is taken away from Achilles, so he's denied the chance to have children. So there's a kind of non-sex. It's kind of the opposite of reproducing, you see.
When Achilles and Agamemnon argue, Achilles, it represents sperm. Agamemnon represents penis. So, who? Achilles said, all strong things my arms do. Yes, because baby cannot born by penis. Baby born can by sperm. If a penis have not good sperm, baby cannot born. Baby cannot exist. Patroclus is azoosperm. Azoosperm means fake sperm. Achilles is real sperm. Therefore, penis and sperm say, hey, you are Agamemnon, you are penis. Briseis is mine because I am Achilles, because I am sperm. Sperm can do baby in womb. Penis cannot do if not have sperm. So, in the horse, 50 warriors. One of them is Achilles. It means after enter the castle, 36 hours later, Achilles doing baby. And who is the Cassandra? Cassandra is this. Ilios castle is over of woman. But over of woman have a liquid. That liquid mission is killing sperm. Therefore, Cassandra said, no, father, no, King Priam, please don't enter this horse our castle. If this horse come our castle, you will be deaf. Our country will be deaf. No, please don't accept. All women over have a liquid. That mission of liquid is killing sperm. So, after 9 years, they built by Odysseus the horse, and in starting 10 years, war over. So, all countries born in Marmara Sea, all countries in the world passing to Aegean Sea. For example, America, Japan, China, Russia, Germany, England, Turkey, Arabia, Iran, all of them in our subconscious mind, they born in Marmara Sea, 9 years. So, according to Virgilius, that character, Aeneas, born in Marmara Sea, passing Çanakkale, Bosphorus, passing Aegean Sea, and goes to Italy. He built Roman Empire after 9 years. So please look, 2,800 years ago, Homer writes this. But 100 years ago, in 1915, during the World First.
Yeah, First World War.
Agamemnon cruiser and nearly 20 warships enter the Aegean Sea, come to the Çanakkale Sea. Head of them, Amiral ship, name it Agamemnon. Agamemnon, 100 years ago, come back again and bombarded to Çanakkale. So, 800 years ago, what happened to Agamemnon? When Agamemnon come back home, died in his 5 arms. So, after bombed to the Çanakkale, Agamemnon cruiser come back and Turkish soldier killed Agamemnon ship. Agamemnon ship goes in deep of the Aegean Sea, killed. 2,800 years ago, same thing happened. 100 years ago, same thing happened. And 1915, in First War, after 9 years passed, what happened? After 9 years, please. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Türkiye Cumhuriyeti, Türkiye Republic, built in 1923. How many years has been Agamemnon's bombardment? 9 years. How many years Trojan War, 2008 years ago, continent? 9 years passed. First day in 10 years, war is finished, and Aeneas, of course, according to Virgilius, after 400 years ago, Virgilius said, there is burning Aeneas and built to the Roman Empire 9 years later. All countries burning in Marmara Sea. So, Odysseus, in other hand, Odysseus knee burn, one knee burn. After Odysseus built the horse, and after the Trojan castle burning, that time Odysseus thinking and give his decide, wow, what I did. So, oh, yes, Crete Island and Anatolia making love, and I burned. He had 12 ships, and end of the war, he is going to Marriage River now in modern time between Turkey and Greece. He went and fight. He takes them 7 talent gold. What is the meaning of 7 talent gold? And he take from them 12 jar of wine. What is 12 of jar of wine? What's the meaning of 7 talent gold? Why he takes from Ismaros? It's after 10 years, Odysseus reborn, and Odysseus cut his baby cordon. When baby get out from womb of mother, baby and mother have a cordon, have a line, have a pin line. When Odysseus go to Ismaros fight one day, he cut his cordon, his tie, and he take 2 things, 12 jars. What is the jar? It's motivation. Motivation for what? Motivation for being God, being immortal. So what is the 7 talent? 7 talent is a map, roadmap. In that 7 talent gold, writing on first gold. First, you should go open his eyes, 3rd eyes. Second, you should learn all about knowledge, quantum universe. That is Kirgis Island. 3rd, you should go to soul's land. You should say, please, all souls, forgive me. And 4th, gold represent Silence Island. It means in the quantum universe, there is not material, only sound. What is the 5th golden? It means don't stall, don't be thief, don't say lie. So what is the 6th golden? He puts from marriage river. You should go to land of Calypso. You should thinking, what is the meaning 7 gold? If you decided doing good act, you will be crowned off your head. That time you can, without seeing, without bad act, to quantum universe, and that time you will be immortal. And they are waiting to you. Immortal goddess, her name is Penelope. End of the story. Penelope and Odysseus turn into immortal. Penelope, in 20 years, every moment, every day, trying to be God. How can trying to be goodness? How? She is every day doing textile material. And he is the real Odysseus life. And when night comes, she is untying all textile material. So this world have material, parallel universe have not material. In 20 years, Penelope every day doing exercise to be God. Every 20 years every day, Penelope doing exercise, not be bad act, not be bad woman, because 20 suitors, visitors, says, please accept me, I shall be your husband, please, but she said no. Why? Because she is trying and doing exercise every day to be immortal. Her examination continued. Her home, Odysseus' examination continued after the Trojan War in 10 years to be tried to God. And both of them winners to be turned into God and goddess. What are you thinking? Are you agree or not? I would like look in another height, in another side to this piece.
Well, I think that you have to distinguish between how you react to this epic and how the people who actually composed it probably thought about the epic. So surely they were interested in reproducing and having offspring, particularly if they were royals, the way Agamemnon was. And we have the mythological account of the House of Atreus, which is filled with dynastic strife and murder and mayhem, which is typical of aristocrats trying to secure rule over contested territory, whatever. But keep in mind that the Iliad and Odyssey may be 2,800 years old, but that the war, as far as we can tell from archaeology, the war before Troy was probably 1200 BCE, so 3,200 years. So you have a 400-year gap, and the professional poet Homeros in Greek, was making a story about an event that was probably fading from memory at the time for the average person. There may well have been accounts in Anatolia from other bards, and it's not clear how all the material from the Odyssey or the Iliad both were put together from various sources. Typically, these things are always mixed, and they have mixed origin, mixed content. Seven talents. Keep in mind that 7 is a folklore number, what we call a folklore number. And for some reason, tales will take either 3, 7, or 9. And 9 is 3 threes. So these will be so many repeated, just this, whatever. But modern nations, the Sea of Marmara and all that, this is a coincidence. And I think of no great significance, because certainly when the material was written down, and there was what we call a recension, which means a standardized form, by the king of Athens. What was his name? Anyway, it was standardized, and it had been a series of variants by other people who were bards running about. So I don't think that these people at that time were even aware of sperm. They knew the man basically triggered a pregnancy, or the male triggered a pregnancy, and the say a stallion and a horse, or a bull and a cow, and a man and woman. So they just accepted that, and I would think that the kind of interpretation you're giving is a modern one. because you're a modern person. And this is part of the power of these tales. For every generation that is exposed to them, they do what you're doing. They try to find some sense and meaning to the document, and they do. It works, and they are happy with that. They feel they understand it in some way, and then 100 years later, the next people reading it, they come up with their own interpretations. So you say I should, if you think subjectively and operating on the level of the unconscious, this is the kind of interpretations you come up with. I can't do that. I don't do that. And I examine these things the way a biologist would examine different species of animal or something like that. And I look at a variety of tales. There's the Mahabharata from India.
Yes.
It shows a similar warfare and dynastic strife. And then there's, of course, there's the Vergilius, and the Aeneid and the founding of Rome, which is entirely mythical as far as we can tell. And Virgilius himself was actually from Gaul. He was a Celt. He was Gaulish. And so he was just asked by one of the Caesars, I can't remember which one, to make up a story that rivaled the Iliad and the Odyssey, and Virgilius did so. And he has characters like Dido and his father in the Aeneid, you know. So
Caesar said, yes, Roma Empire. Caesar says, "I am Julius Caesar."
Wait a minute, I can't hear you. Wait.
And Julius Caesar, it means their ancestors comes from that. So why I said it's more than war, it's making love. Yes, because this story starts with April. April means born a baby. In the heaven, Adam and Eva, after eating apple, they have baby. Enter Hera, Aphrodite, Athena, argue, I am beautiful, should I have this apple? That time, they choose a man and woman for making love, Paris and Helena. When Paris choose Aphrodite, Aphrodite give Helena to Paris for making love. Okay, so Crete and Anatolia doing making love. So in the Iliad, Zeus and Hera making love on top of Ida mountain. What? How? Hera said, Zeus, please come. Look at my chest. Too much good things, please kiss me. And they have making love top of Ida mountain. That time, Helen and Paris doing making love. Agamemnon and her wife Clytemnestra doing love. Türk Anadolu and Crete doing making love. When Homer said this 16,000 lines, he cannot create this epic. God's created this epic. Homer is only said with his tongue because it's too much sophisticated epic. So please, do you remember shape of agency? John,
Mm-hmm.
you remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
The shape of agency like this, like a vagina.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And end of the, start of the vagina, mouth of the vagina, there is Crete Island here. Here is agency. In the mouth, there is Crete Island, there is Paris. And so it is too much sophisticated. God's seeing everything, top of the Olympus, and they said to Homer, we will say to you a poem, and we will use your tongue. Homer said, yes, of course. God said to him, and therefore he said, oh goddess, please help me. I cannot say name of every king, every commander, every soldier. Please help me. Sing goddess, he said. Because this too much sophisticated, too much hard epic, this epic not written down by a human, not written down by Homer, this epic written down by gods, only gods use Homer body.
The Quran is Quran, dictations, and this is the voice of God coming through Muhammad. There's no indication in pagan world of any conception that the God is speaking through a bard. The bards were apparently a functioning class that traveled about and entertained the royalty with their tales, but there was no idea that somehow they were giving the word of God or the gods to anybody. Let's go back to Adam and Eve for a minute. Adam is ancient Akkadian, which is related to Arabic for dust. And Eve originally was Hawa. Hawa is air or breath. So breath and dust together make life. So this is an alternative conception of where life comes from. Your sexual geography, I mean, keep in mind that these people didn't really have maps. They probably had no idea of how the place was shaped. And they traveled about, and knew this island here, that island there, and they could get around. They had boats and traveled on land as well, but they had no overall picture. They had no means of measuring out stuff on a large scale the way we do or have had for about 400 or 500 years. So it's really what you're giving is a modern interpretation of a particular sort that is yours. I mean, but this is nothing you can argue for. If I went to a conference and I talked, try to propose these ideas, I would be attacked and I would have a very difficult time defending myself. So I'm trying to look at these things as a way of sort of science, quantum universe and whatever. I mean, I had physics, I had quantum mechanics. And I just finished a book on how the universe will end in a variety of ways by a cosmologist. These sorts of things. So you can drag these things in, these concepts in and whatnot. But the actual substance there has to lie in mathematics. I think the actual substance of the Iliad and Odyssey have to lie in a study of history and a study of comparisons. The names are important. So Agamemnon, the Memnon part is Egyptian. And Egypt was very ancient, probably a very high civilization in the eyes of the Greeks. And the city of Thebes has another Thebes in Egypt itself. This is probably an Egyptian colony that was eventually culturally assimilated and became part of the Greek world. And just the name alone suggests this. Athens is from early Astana, which is similar to what the capital of Kazakhstan. Maybe some link, who knows? And let's go back to Adam and Eve. I left out one thing about Adam and Eve, just to give you a concept of mixture here. The first wife of Adam was not Eve, not Breath, but Lilith. And Lilith is actually Sumerian. And Lil is Sumerian for a goddess of fertility. So she was brought in and kicked out by later people.
Homer, if we speak in Iliad and Odyssey, maybe it will be more good things. So why Homer telling us only last 51 days of war? Because in 10 years, 3,600 years. In 10 years, 600 and, no, in 10 years, 300 and 3,600 years. Yes, but why Homer didn't tell us 3,600 days? Why he didn't tell us? Why he only tell us last 51 days? Because a baby, when in his mother's womb, her mother said, "My son, my girl, my baby, prepare your sheep because you have 51 days. After 51 days, my womb will be ill. My womb cannot give you food, cannot give you anything. Please prepare your sheep." Same sound come to Noah. Therefore, Noah prepared his ark. Mother said, "My baby, be ready 51 days later." When 51 days come, baby come from Marmara Sea, and Çanakkale Bosphorus opened. That ship passed Çanakkale Bosphorus and go to Ismaros and pass to the Libya. Noah's Ark, same. It means all babies, all Noah's Ark, all Atlantis stories means making love between husband and wife, burning baby, burning country, burning Noah's Ark, burning Atlantis. So therefore, he tell us 51 days. In my opinion, my things. What is your thinking for 51 years, 51 days? What is this 51?
I don't know what to make of the number. I mean, the period of a pregnancy is 9 months times 30. 9 times 30 is 270 days, give or take a bit. Noah's Ark is one of the motifs that we find all over the planet, a motif of a great flood. And there are tribes that live in deserts that have never seen a body of water of any kind, that have tales of the great flood. My guess, and the guess of others who do mythology or folklore, is that some kind of vague recollection of some kind of post-glacial, some kind of glacial thawing at the end of the last ice age that caused flooding. We know flooding around the Black Sea, where the water rose a certain amount and then came flooding in and killed. Salt water came in and killed all the freshwater life. So you have this black color. And you have settlements, Neolithic settlements you can find and whatnot. And there are people who spend a substantial amount of their career worrying about exactly Noah and the Ark and the flood story and the flood stories. I mean, the only one I've actually seen otherwise is one from Celtic, from Old Irish. But they also have a flood story, just like the Hebrew Noah's Ark. And then, well, maybe others that I don't work on that particular topic. Others could cite. So one thing you're talking about is what we call numerology, looking at the significance of certain numbers that pop up, either in one particular tradition, one particular text, perhaps, or in others, like the mark of the beast in the story of the apocalypse. And is it 666? Is it 676? I mean, some people have argued that it's mistranslated. It's not 666. Why that number? This sort of stuff. So that's numerology. And there are people that spend their time. There's even a movie about that. People that spend their time worrying about the significance of such things. I would say that they're like other motifs, that they are built in somehow, and that they reflect the human propensity for counting and seeing significance in certain quantities, certain numbers, certain durations.
Mr. John, you're professor of language in other hand.
Yeah, language, Circassian, Adiga.
Please thinking on this. Ilios, capital of the Troy. Okay.
Troy, Ilios, Ilion.
Okay, Ilion and Ilios, and name of this epic is Ilios epic. In modern time, we are using Iliad, but Ilios. So, Ilios is in Çanakkale city. So, we have another town. Its name is Kilyos. Kilyos is in Istanbul. Did you ever heard Kilyos?
Kilyos?
Yes, Kilyos. Kilyos is a town in Istanbul. That town, seashore of Black Sea. So, Ilios, it means life. Kilyos means death. Kilyos. So, I am speaking on this because you are, in other hand, linguistic professor. Black Sea. Why its name is black? Why its name is white?
It is dark. Yeah, in Circassian and Ubukh, it is White Sea.
Yes, White Sea. Black Sea, White Sea. So, according to our subconscious mind, Black Sea means death. Black Sea means grave. Black Sea means graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, that seashore town of Istanbul is named Helios.
Mm-hmm.
So, mother womb. Where is the mother womb? Uterus is Marmara Sea. Marmara Sea have two gates. One gate is Istanbul Bosphorus. That gate of death.
Let me explain the name Helios. We know what that. We know.
Exactly, Bosphorus. It's open to the life.
The people of Troy, I mean, it actually existed, and this war probably really happened. And there was a fight over probably some, precisely as you point out, the lay of the seas and the water and ocean, the Aegean and the Black Sea and all. Probably a fight over trade routes. But the important thing to keep in mind is that when bards tell tales, they have an enormous burden on their memory, and they ease that burden by fixed phrases. Swift-footed Achilles, swift-footed Achilles, Okus Achilles in Greek, Okus Achilles, swift Achilles. And for Troy, the city of Troy, they say high-towered Troy. Now, we think that the language spoken in Troy was probably related to languages farther east that we call Luwian and Hittite, which are very early versions of Indo-European. And Calvert Watkins, whom I knew, he was a professor of historical linguistics at Harvard. I went to Harvard. And New Cal found in a tablet high-towered Wilusa. Now, Wilusa is a kind of Luwian name, and what happens in Greek is the W drops off and the S drops off, and you get Ilua. And from Ilua, you end up with Ilion by making it into a neuter noun. So we can actually trace now the art, thanks to Cal Watkins, the late Cal Watkins, we can actually trace the origin of the name. Odysseus is another interesting name. There are some theories that this is a local language that's pre-Greek, pre-Luwian, pre-Indo-European, and it means one-eyed. And that ties into your issue about opening up the eye of the Cyclops, Polyphemus. So it's possible. I knew a fellow, I taught at Vienna, my first job, and there was a young scholar there working on the idea that Odysseus itself meant one-eyed in some way. But we don't know what language it would have come from. It certainly is not in Circassian or Georgian or Ossetian or in anything that I know of. But, you know, the language, comparing names and knowing something about linguistics is a very powerful tool because it means that if you can find the origin of a name and relate it to another name, you can perhaps explain how people thought about that character originally and why they gave that character that name. So Paris, who abducts Helen, Paris means far away, okay? And so he takes the sun maiden far away, and this causes terrible problems for everybody concerned. Now, what is this? Is fascinating. This is a dragon, and
yes, you did too much research on Caucasus.
Yeah.
Maybe you find, I guess, too much story about Shahmaran, snake Shahmaran. Represent snake Shahmaran. In Caucasus climbs they are telling their children story of this. What is this? Look, this is here his tail. It's Cyclops. Look, his tail enter his third eyes. First, Odyssey, in 20 years, traveling first, traveling here, traveling here, traveling here, traveling here. When he traveling here, he finds snake's tail. That time he said, wow, I should go here. But here is 3 ways. Please forgive me. First is our tail. Second is a hole. Hole. Third is here. Third hole is penis hole. In penis hole, that thing blinking. In anus hole, that thing blinking. But if a man chooses tail, he can go 33 bones and reach here to Calypso. Here is our first bone. Here coming to Kirkes Island. Here coming to Silence Island. Here coming to Hades land. Here coming to this throat, coming to Skyla and Charybdis coming here. Here.
Scylla and Charybdis, yeah.
Then
clashing.
Then coming in crown, here is Pyax. So come here and come here. Odyssey will go where? Odyssey will go, I tell you, will go where? It's not last point. Crown is not the last point. So where is the last point? Last point is this. In Caucasus traditional, its name is Zümrüt Anka. Zümrüt Anka Phoenix. Phoenix is Şahmaran's crown. So, who is the Phoenix? Hell, Penelope is Phoenix. So, Odyssey, after the Trojan War, go to Polyphemus cave. Then went to Kirkes Island, Hades land, Syrians land, Skyla rock, and Charybdis gate, and come here with Calypso lives 7 years and goes to Pyax Island. Then he went his home. In his home, he and she, Odyssey and Penelope, turned to Phoenix. Phoenix means God and goddess. What are you thinking? And so, but in last 10 years, Odyssey finds Shahmaran. But in first 10 years, Odyssey only find Poseidon. Poseidon here. Look at me, please. I should look. I am 2 parts. 1 part, my leg. Second part, my body. Here. Poseidon is here. Look, please. Our team doing bad things, killing people. Look. But our heart, our belly, our mother's belly, didn't hit people. Our mother's belly giving life, giving baby. Our heart didn't hit people. In all deaf people living in our heart endlessly. Our chest not give people kick or bad thing. Here is giving people faith. Our throat not give people bad thing. Our throat say, don't eat stolen. Don't say bad thing. Don't lie. So until here, Odyssey come with one ship with 12 crew, but Skyla is 6 crew. Charybdis is 6 crew. All crew is gone, only one person. Odyssey pass through in this clips. In this clips, is there rain? Say, should all people climb 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 33 bones? So Atlas, Titan, so Atlas cannot reach Calypso. Atlas can reach here. Therefore, our 33 bones we call Atlas bone. Atlas cannot reach Calypso, but Odyssey reach to Calypso. And Calypso said, no, don't go, don't go. But Odyssey said, I should go. My home wait me. My wife wait me. Calypso said, Calypso not said, but his home is quantum universe. His wife is God's. Atlas, for example, Hercules cannot reach phoenixes. Atlas cannot reach phoenixes too. Therefore, every day in thousands of years, Atlas only lifting Calypso. So why? Because his 11 ship crew, because represent penis. Laostrigons represent penis. So why God of winds in Ilios Island? Why God of winds give to Odyssey wind? Because, please excuse me, what is meaning of the wind of wind God give? In our honest hall, giving us wind. But which wind? Good wind or not? Bad wind. Therefore, God gave him wind, but he is coming Ithaca, but open the bad wind in 10 years. he cannot see his home. Leostrigons, god of winds, and Polyphemus, three of them insane. Insane statue, isn't it? Yes. You have three choices, but choose your best. If you choose tennis, you will be guest of Leostrigons. Leostrigons eating his guest. Don't choose Leostrigons. There is two choose. Ilios Island or Kypros Island. If you choose Ilios Island, you will choose Anus Hall's here. If you choose Kypros Island, you can climb. You can come in third eyes. This is our 33 bones, this camp. Oh, it's, look. Uberus snake. Uberus snake. When we open our third eyes, it means we find Shahmaran. And in other hand, Gilgamesh find Shahmaran too. How Gilgamesh find Shahmaran? After Gilgamesh left the Uruk, and that time starting Odysseus story. Gilgamesh going that land, looking for immortal food, immortal growths. And he find end of the road. And he say, okay, I will give my people and I will eat. But when he carrying, then he is drinking water from the spring, snake come eating that endlessly. Gross. What is means? Means that Gilgamesh find solution for immortality. What is the immortality? All people, now you are 8 billions living in surface. Shahmaran is in your body. Shahmaran not in ground. So how we have Shahmaran? Look at Shahmaran head, Shahmaran hair, Shahmaran 8 bones here, Shahmaran 27 bones here. Here is Shahmaran 33 bones, face, mouth, this.
I think that the snake woman is probably a representation of Lilith, the first wife of Adam, and probably also somehow the mother of the snake that seduces them. The bird, well, there's nothing like that snake in the Caucasus. So there is a bird, very small, but this is probably the Simurgh from Iranian lore. And this is linked to the vision of the world as a world tree. So a tree has to have, a good tree, decent tree has to have birds and squirrels and things like that. So this we see in Norse, and we also see a very good world tree in Circassian material. And somehow it's tied in with a bird that darkens the sky when it flies. It's so big and it challenges the hero. that kind of thing. I think the images you showed me, this is what they are. Hold on a second here.
So, do you know what is the simurg? Simurg?
Simurg, yeah, it's the giant bird.
Persian language, it's sehmur. Seh means 30. Mur means bird. 30 bird. Simur. But in languages of Persian, they pronounce this sehmur. In Turkish, we say simur. In Caucasian tribes, they say simur. Yes, sehmur. So, our spine have 33. Okay, 30 sehmur. So, Gilgamesh said in Epic of Gilgamesh said, Gilgamesh had 3 parts. One part of Gilgamesh is mortal. 2 parts of Gilgamesh is immortal. Simur is 30 birds. Gilgamesh is 3 birds. One of mortal, 2 of them immortal. So what is the mortal of immortal? Shahmaran here. Shahmaran is immortal. Second, in our head, living Simur. Simur is immortal. Shahmaran is immortal, but our bones is mortal. It's 3.
Let me say something about Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is the Akkadian version of the name. The original name in Sumerian is Bilgamesh. Bilga also occurs in Turkic, Bilga Hakan, wise means wise or insightful Lord. And I think it's very hard to see in the epic of Bilgamesh or Gilgamesh anything but a tragedy. He wants to find immortality, and I think he loses his friend Enkidu, kind of a Sasquatch or wild man, and he realizes that he cannot be immortal, that he will die. So it's very sad, and it's a very powerful story, and it's 5,000 years old. It's really quite something.
Yes, he can. Yeah. Why he guessed he cannot be immortal? Because all Greece armies come to Trojan War. Only one people knows he be immortal. All 50,000 Greece armies, Greece soldiers, they say they are normal. But only one people can be immortal, Odyssey. Odyssey means Gilgamesh. Odyssey means I didn't know anything, I know everything. I am not anybody, I am everything. 4 means from origin of Odyssey. 4 means comes from Gilgamesh too. I am nothing, I am everything. I don't know anything, I know everything. So if a people knows Penelope is here, people knows Shahmaran is here.
Okay, Rafiq, I have to go now. It's past midnight your time, and for me, it's time to eat. So it's been a pleasure spending this time with you, meeting you, and listening to your ideas. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to participate on your TV show.
Maybe people should look all at peace. according to subconscious, my hope is this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Well, good luck, and thank you for sharing your ideas. And perhaps again we'll be able to talk. Okay. Thank you.
And good luck to you, Professor John Coleraso. Have a beyond miracle life.
Thank you. Okay. Bye, Rafik.
Bye bye.